Thank you for having me and for the opportunity to engage in this conversation with you over the events that have taken place over the past week. It has been an incredible week for us, and it's incredible because of the miracles that have taken place. The first miracle that took place was, as he described, due to the Ansar, the supporters, the believers in the Dawah, going and traveling all the way to St. Peter's Square at the Vatican and raising the banners of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This banner that they raised, a lot of people don't know this, but it's written in it, allegiance is to Allah, and it's a black banner. And these banners were only used by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was alive, and only used by Imam Ali alayhi salam during his lifetime. Then Imam Ali rolled up the banner and said that nobody would see these banners again until the appearance of the Qa'im, or the appearance of the Mahdi. And so the banner itself that was raised has a very special significance to it, because the narrations, the traditions in Islam stated that the banner of the Mahdi would be written in it, allegiances to Allah, and would be black. And over the course of the history of Islam, nobody ever raised, there was no claimant who proclaimed himself to be the Mahdi who ever raised a banner that was black, that was written in it, Al-Bayadillah. This was something that never took place over the course of the past 1400 years. And the believers believe that that banner could only be raised by the Mahdi. And that is precisely what we did in 2015 when we first announced this very special call. And this is actually one of the evidences of the Dawah. It's one of the proofs of the Dawah, as you know. And so this very special banner was raised in front of the television cameras and in front of the entire world on Easter Sunday, just hours before the Pope passes away. And the believers that were there, they were wearing shirts that proclaimed that there was a new Pope, a legitimate Pope, the true heir and successor of Jesus Christ and Simon Peter and the prophets and the messengers, the true Pope of Christianity and Islam and all religions, is actually here, and he's the riser from the family of Muhammad. And so for that proclamation to take place from the very home of Catholicism, all right, and it to result in a few hours later in the Pope passing away, this is not a coincidence. This is a miracle, like many miracles that have taken place in the Bible. It was seen as a testament of God, whereby God said that Abu Sadiq is my choice. My choice is the riser from the family of Muhammad. I am enforcing the statement of the believers that they made on that day by clarifying to everybody that this Pope is false. I shall remove him. In my power, in my hands are the power to all things. Rulership is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the banner says allegiance is to God. It also means that God is the king of all things. He's the owner of all things. And so God has the authority to grant kingship to whom he wills and remove kingship from whom he wills. And in this case, after the proclamation of the believers, he removed kingship and removed the crown off of the head of the false Pope, the impostor, Francis. And so this was a great miracle, and it led to me basically coming up to give a sermon to the believing community, and that sermon was intended to validate the miracle that had taken place. And in that sermon, I addressed the Christians worldwide in order that I may let them know that that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who appoints the leader, and God appoints a pope, he appoints an imam, he appoints a vice-chair, a representative in every day and age, and to let them know that I am that person that they are obliged to follow. Right? Every divinely appointed prophet or messenger has a job, and their job is to lead people to God. And in the process of leading people to God, they have to proclaim that they are messengers from God, or else why would the people obey them? Why would the people follow them? And this is exactly what we see happening with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came out and he identifies himself as a messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, I'm receiving revelations from God. I'm the messenger of God. And he demonstrates his proofs the same thing with Jesus, the same thing with Moses and Noah and every prophet and messenger that has ever been sent to mankind. And so I had to do the same with the Christians. And that served as that moment for the Christian world, and that was the intention behind the sermon. That was why I gave the sermon. That was the reasoning behind God sending me forth and commanding me to speak those words which He placed in my mouth, and that's exactly what it is that I did. Now, after that, a second miracle took place, and that is that God took that sermon. He didn't have to give it enforcement, he didn't have to give it attention, but he made sure that that sermon was heard by everybody around the world. For the past days, I don't think that there has been a conversation that was taking place on the world stage that was bigger than this one. Although most of it was mocking, and most of it was name-calling, and most of it was rejection, it doesn't matter. What took place was that the proof was established over the people. The excuse was removed from the people. Nobody could say now that they were not aware that God had sent forward a messenger, or that they were not aware that there was this individual who was proclaiming himself to be a proof over the Christians. The Christians couldn't go to God on Judgment Day, and when God asks them, why didn't you follow the shepherd that I sent to you? Why didn't you follow the imam of the time? They can't say, oh, well, we never heard about it, right? They heard about it, and God made sure that they heard about it, and God recorded each and every one of their responses to what it is that they heard. And unfortunately, the majority of them did the exact same thing that their ancestors and their forefathers did before when a messenger was sent to them, and it's something that we expected. The Quran and the Bible and the Torah make it clear that every time a messenger is sent to mankind, they always say about him that he is somebody who is a magician, or he's somebody who's insane, he's somebody who's a clown, he's somebody who is not to be heard and to be mocked and to be rejected. And they say about him that he's a demon, or that he's using demons in order to control the people. And we saw that taking place. We saw the believers accepting and being interested, and those who have light in their hearts asking more questions, and we saw them being very few in number, as they were in every day and age, with the divinely appointed successor or messenger. And we found that the majority of the people rejected and mocked, and they called me that. They called me a dangerous cult leader. They called me somebody who is a demon. They made AI videos of me with my eyes turning into demonic eyes, or horns coming out of me, or me transforming into some sort of demon or devil. They slandered me in many videos and in many articles, and they made up a lot of accusations, and they propagated a lot of fake news, to be honest with you, that we were hearing a lot of it for the very first time. And some of it was just regurgitation of previous accusations that was made by extremists and fundamentalists and people that are against us. And so we got to experience history repeating itself, and we saw these two miracles take place. A miracle that was the death of Pope Francis after the proclamation was made, and the second miracle was the fact that my word was carried across to all of the nations on the planet. And they were forced to speak about it, and they were forced to call me the Mahdi. And there are particular narrations and traditions in the books of the Ahlul Bayt that say that before the establishment of a divine just state and before the rise of the Mahdi, that what takes place is that the dimensioning of his name increases on the tongues of the people around the world. And so those who believe in him and those who disbelieve in him, those who belie him and those who say that he speaks the truth, those who hate him and those who love him, they all are forced to speak about him. And the reasoning that's given in the narration is so that they are not without, so that they don't have an excuse to give God on the day of judgment, essentially that they didn't hear the call or they didn't know that the Mahdi has appeared. And they will know, they will speak the narration, says they'll call him by his name and they'll know his lineage, and they'll know the name of his father and the name, and they'll know his kunya or his title, which my kunya is Abu Sadiq, and you hear them now, people in America and people in Europe and people all over the place saying that his name is Abu Sadiq Abdullah Hashem, and so they know me, and they know me by the name of my forefathers, and they also know me by my kunya, and they know me by my title, which is exactly what the narration said would happen to, and that is the Mahdi or the Qa'im. And so we see the actual literal fulfillment of prophecy taking place over this past week. And so although we are sad, obviously, for the people that can't see the truth and can't see the light and reject without giving it an opportunity or giving it a chance, and repeating the actions of the non-believers in every day and age, we're so extremely grateful and proud and happy to be living in these times, and that God used us to give this message out to the world that it is only God who appoints the leader, and that for every day and age there is a divinely appointed messenger or prophet, and it is that divinely appointed messenger or prophet or imam or judge or king, whatever you want to call it, that is to be obeyed, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one whom grants authority, and everybody else who is in a position of authority on the planet, their appointment came from the devil. And the proof of that is in the New Testament, in the Gospels, when you have Jesus being tempted by the devil. And what's taking place with Jesus? Jesus is offered in one of the temptations, to be ruler over the earth. The devil offered him that, which means that the devil has the power to appoint earthly kings and rulers, and he offered that for Jesus. Jesus refused to that because Jesus, he was already appointed as king over the entire universe, and he was the divinely appointed king, a messenger that was sent from God. Well, the same thing is applicable today.